are here live at McGillin's in Center City, and this is presented by Toyota, proud automotive partner of the NFL. Ashlyn Sullivan, Dave Zangaro, and Barrett Brooks joining us here shortly, along with a ton of Eagles fans getting ready here for Super Bowl Sunday, only 9 days away, which still seems like so far away as the Eagles got back to the practice field yesterday, getting ready for a big matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Dave and I have been there all week long. We're going to talk about this game so much here tonight, but it's very clear here in Center City, in Philadelphia, ready for the Super Bowl, and rightfully so. We've been so excited about this team, Dave, for so long.
Yeah, it's been a really fun season so far. There's one more game to finish this out, and it's always fun when the team goes this far because the city is electric. We feel it everywhere you go. You're at the gas station, you're at Wawa, whatever it is. Like, you feel the energy from everyone. It's a lot of fun, and it's 9 days. It's still a long time to go. We'll be down in New Orleans this week, but it's really exciting. It
really is, and Gilly is here as well. He has taken Philadelphia by storm. We've all seen the post-game celebrations, the blow the whistle. We'll get into that for sure, but definitely talking a lot of X's and O's as well, and it's very clear Philadelphia is so excited for the Super Bowl, and rightfully so. This has been a team that's been so easy to root for, that's been so easy to get excited for, because we saw with free agency when they brought in Saquon Barkley, David was clear, they were swinging for the fences, they were going for the home run team, and it's been pretty surprising how quickly it's clicked.
Yeah, it is amazing. Everything Howie Roseman did this offseason really worked out. I mean, maybe not everything, but most of the things worked out. I think the thing that is amazing about this team, there's so many great stories. Saquon's one of them. Zach Bond is another. C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming back to this team. Nick Sirianni, maybe he's going to get fired, and then all of a sudden he has the team back in the Super Bowl. It's like every single guy on this team has a cool story, and it makes it a lot easier to root for the team.
It really is, and I think when we go back to the bye week when this team was 2-2 and there were so many questions of how this was going to work, it's very clear that Eagles offensively changed their mindset. They wanted to be a strong running team, and there are so many questions. There's so many points about this passing game, and we're getting a lot of questions now 9 days away from the Super Bowl. How are they going to run this offense against the Kansas City Chiefs? My opinion is you go with what's working, which is the hot hand of Saquon Barkley, the running game. I don't want to see him get cute in a Super Bowl. Go with what is working, but it's been incredible to see them flip a switch in the bye week, go to the running game, and that's become their identity.
Yeah, I give Nick Sirianni a lot of credit because the offensive lineman walked into his office and said, hey, we have Saquon, we have the horses up front to block for him. Let us do this, and they have. And it took a lot of selflessness from the receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, not getting those targets anymore as often, right? Yeah. But then the big question became, when they need the passing offense, is it going to be there? It was a question that I talked about quite a bit, and people got really mad at me for talking about. But then the NFC Championship game, they end up throwing the ball around the yard a little bit, and it looked good. So you feel pretty confident going into the Super Bowl that, yes, they can run the football. They're going to try to run the football, but if Kansas City is able to slow them down in the run game, they're able to pass it outside the hashes to the two receivers that are really, really good.
Well, I am hearing breaking news that the real star of the show is here. Barrett Brooks is here live at McGillin's, as well as he is making his way to the stage. Hopefully, Barrett is running a little behind. Now he's chit-chatting per usual. Barrett, there's a program going on.
Why don't you stop at the bar first?
Yeah, get yourself an appetizer, chicken wing. Golly, this guy.
I love the entrance out of this guy.
We knew there'd be an entrance. Yeah. He wouldn't just casually walk in. What happened to you? No further questions. Come up on set with us. Shall we go to a fan question as well? Is that allowed? Yes. Let's go to the other star of the show. Ashley Hall is here at McGillin's as well. She has a fan question tonight presented by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Ash, what do you got?
I just want you guys to know I don't pay her to say that. She is my friend, though, so there's a bit of a bias. Yeah, guys, so first fan question comes from Reuben, and I'll give you a hint. I knew you were expecting it. It's about our guy, BG. Go ahead, Reuben.
Obviously, we all love Brandon Graham, but if he's coming back from the Super Bowl, will he be able to contribute real snaps, or is this a celebrity morale appearance if he's active?
That is a fantastic question. We're still figuring out. I'm going to let my guy Barrett Brooks answer this first because he is now here on the program. Asking about Brandon Graham, we feel confident he's going to play in the Super Bowl, which is a remarkable story in itself, but how effective is he actually going to be?
If you see on September 9th, I said September 9th.
We've been doing a lot of television,
February,
folks.
yeah. February 9th. You see him come out there with his pads on, he's going to play. So when you look at Brandon Graham, he's not going to just a rah-rah guy. He's somebody's going to go out there and contribute. Remember early, they were like, all right, BG, we're just going to have him come out there and play every once in a while, pass rushing situational football. Well, Vic Fangio was like, nuh-uh, we need him to play because, number one, his last play was a tackle for loss.
Mm-hmm.
He's always getting strip sacks, so we need him. He closed out the last Super Bowl we won, so let's let him come back so we can come close this Super Bowl out.
I love it, Dave. And that's, I think, the biggest question is they're not going to bring him back unless they're fully confident he can make a contribution. Because we have to remember he's going to take a roster spot from someone else. And knowing BG, he wouldn't want that, right? He wouldn't want to come back and take a spot if he wasn't confident he was going to succeed.
Yeah, he needs to feel confident that he's going to be able to do what he needs to do. I don't think he's going to play like 50 snaps in this game. I think it's going to be a select group of snaps, maybe like 10 to 15, but he can be productive in those snaps. I think they can get him out there in certain situations, and they will, and I think they'll kind of feel it out too. If he looks good and he's playing well, this is probably his last game in the NFL. Like, there's no reason not to play him. That's why he wants to come back in this game anyway. I think the big test is with that elbow. How much power can he actually get with that torn triceps? He's going to have that brace on it, which is going to kind of limit the range of motion. So you don't want to overextend it. You don't want to bend it in too far. If it stays there and he can get some power with it, he's going to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know with BG Barrett that this is a guy that just brings so much morale being present, being on the sideline, which he was doing while injured. But I think just for the guys to see him out there, to see him come back so quickly is a great message to the team as well.
I think he's bionic. He's had both knees done. And Achilles came back. He's a remarkable player. Understanding what he went through from getting drafted to almost being ostracized for him not, being and living up to his first-round pedigree, to being one of the best Eagles to ever play, and now in a position where he rehabs and is going to come back in the Super Bowl after, was it week 12? I mean, what did they make him? I mean, he's held together by, duct tape and bubble gum, and he still can go out there and play. I mean, he's one of those guys that if he gets on the field, he's going to make something happen. And it's not like he can't. He will make it happen. And Vic Fangio loves this guy. So I want to see what he can do. When I won my Super Bowl, we wanted to have Jerome Bettis, Oh, yeah, I finally wore it. We wanted Jerome Bettis to, retire in Detroit in that Super Bowl. Same thing here. If those young guys see BG out there, they're going to want to close the deal for him so that if this is his last game and he's going to that he plays, that he goes out with a bang. He wins it all, So it wouldn't be more fitting for him to come out and play his last game and win in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and we love it. BG, so easy to root for, coming back very quickly from that torn tricep as we go back out in the crowd here live at McGillin's in Center City. Ashley standing by with another fan question presented by Duncan.
Guys, if we were playing live Q&A bingo, we are 2 for 2 so far. We are talking pass game with our friend Vanessa.
I was wondering on the opening drive, like the first set of downs, should Hurts go deep quickly just to realize that the pass could be another thing to open up the running game, and then maybe hand it to Barkley and he can run it in, for 6.
Yeah, I think they can pass outside the hashes in this game. You have Trent McDuffie, who's their best cornerback in Kansas City, a little undersized, under 6 foot. So if you get A.J. Brown on him one-on-one on the outside, I like that matchup all day. Their corners are fine. I think they're like decent corners. They have good safeties. Yeah, the real strength of that defense is their linebackers. So the middle of the field, which the Eagles don't throw to the middle of the field anyway. So if they throw outside the numbers,
know that.
Yeah, I think there is an opportunity to hit some explosives through the air.
Yeah, I think the same thing, and that's just only because they want to. And that's the big thing. This offense does what they want to do, not what the defense is trying to dictate to them. You could put 11 people in the box, and with that offensive line of Saquon Barkley, he could still take it for 70 yards. In fact, most of his 70-yard plays were when they stacked the box with more than 7 to 8 guys in there, and then he makes the last guy miss, and he takes it for 6. So, the same thing make you laugh, make you cry. You want to stack the box. You want to get an extra defender in there, but he's so good, and the offensive line is so good at cutting people off that he can still take it to the house and be untouched.
Yeah, that's what's been funny really the past 2 months this season is every single time we're in the locker room, we're talking about, okay, how is this defense going to stop this Eagles offense? They say sell out to stop the run. And at this point, I laugh because every single team tries to do it. It's unsuccessful. We know the Chiefs are going to do it as well. They say sell out to stop the run, and then Saquon will pop off a 65-yarder.
Absolutely.
It's very funny to me.
I mean, yeah, and it's because, when you do that, you got to be gap assignment correct. And what the Eagles do, they got guys that are so big that they wipe you out of the gap you're supposed to be in. And when they get a guy out of his gap, there's nobody to take that gap. And Saquon has said once before, he might have a gap that he can go to in the first half and say, nah, I'm not going to take that gap. And then all of a sudden the second half, they do the exact same defense, and he gets out of that gap, he takes it, and they'll take it for 6. 3 of those touchdowns, he wasn't touched by a defender, and they had the box stacked on him. So I love the fact that, this team does what they want to do and how they want to do it. They run the ball because they want to run the ball. If they want to pass, they can pass. This last game, Wade went to A.J. Brown over the top, a deep pass play on a double move. We hadn't seen that in like 5 weeks. But that's just to go to show, we still have this in our repertoire. We can still hit this for a big play.
And A.J., if you remember in the last Super Bowl, that was against Trent McDuffie, that 45-yard touchdown. Ended up beating him on that one. So I think those plays are going to be there. Barrett, you mentioned the run game. I think the one thing I'm really excited to watch in this game, those linebackers from Kansas City are pretty good.
Really good. It was Tranquil and
Drew
and
Tranquil. You have Nick Bolton and also Leo Chanel. Like good players there who are kind of slippery. Curious to see how the next level blocks go against those guys. So you get like Jordan Mailata downfield at the second level. Are those guys able to slip those blocks and make plays? No one's been able to do that against this offensive line this year. If they can, then they have a chance to slow down the run game.
They're smaller guys too, but when you got a guy, as big as ours, the left guard and the right guard are 360.
Yeah, they're tackle size.
Yeah. So they're coming off the rock. And you can imagine a guy that weighs, 225, trying to stop a gap with a guy, Mekhi Becton, hitting you and driving you off the ball. He'll get you about the club. So, I like our chances against these linebackers.
Yeah, even if they have like run blitzes, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like shooting the gap, they might get a tackle for loss. But the cool thing about this Eagles run game, they can be bottled up all game, and then Saquon breaks a 70-yarder.
Exactly.
That's why you got to stick with it. Kellen Moore's been really good at that all season, sticking with the run, even if it's not working in the first half, because they can generate explosive plays off of it.
Yeah, we definitely have seen that in the third and fourth quarters, especially the second half of this season. As we go back out to Ashley, who's standing by with another fan question presented by Duncan. America runs on Duncan.
So first virtual, guys, and Jan wants to know, we're going predictions. How many yards is Saquon Barkley going for?
Oh, my goodness. Predictions 9 days out.
Before we do this, Kansas City has not allowed a running back to rush for 100 yards all season. The only guy who rushed for 100 yards against him was Lamar Jackson. That was way back in week 1. But Saquon's going to go over 100.
So I say 150. Yeah, I say 150.
With all that said, 150.
Yeah, no one slowed him down yet. So, and the thing, like the Eagles have played the top run defense in the league, and it still didn't matter.
Right.
So
we talked about it all week, how intimidating it was.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll go 150 like you, Barrett. Like I think 130 is definitely in play.
I think 120, just to be safe. But nonetheless, over 100, that's a successful game for Saquon Barkley.
Absolutely. And that's, they want to do it that way. They want to go out there, establish the run, and they don't shy away from the run. Usually you have guys that go out there, and if the run's not working, they'll get away from it. Hey, Coach Moore has definitely stood to it and made sure that he stuck with the run.
Absolutely. And we got to talk a little bit about this passing game, because Barrett and I got into it today. Not into it. We agreed on it. But I'm sitting on my couch this morning. I'm having my coffee. I'm listening to all this national media. I flip from ESPN to Good Morning Football to Fox, and the same ticker, the same lower third. Is Jalen Hurts good enough to win a Super Bowl? I'm so sick of the narrative about Jalen Hurts not being good enough to win a Super Bowl or even to win these games, because you see this passing game. When he has to pass, we've seen it be successful, especially against the Steelers. I thought that was one of his best games. Last week in the NFC Championship game. I'm tired of the narrative. I don't know when it's going to go away. What more does the guy have to do?
The two of the best games I've ever seen him play are the last Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game this year. So
the biggest stages.
Yeah, he shows up in these big moments. And look, I think I was probably, maybe not critical, but as curious as anyone.
You were honest.
Yeah, about the passing game. And it wasn't great for a lot of the season. And I think there was a legitimate question, like, would it be there when they needed it? Yeah, they answered my question. It was there. So I think they've alleviated those fears for a lot of people in this city, at least.
Yeah.
And you got to give a big ups to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, for adapting and understanding for the betterment of the team. We're going to let our stats, not be as high as they should be or could be, because we have such a weapon in Saquon Barkley. And the mindset of this team is the culture of this hitting people in the mouth and knocking people out, So that, I love that hard mentality.
And AJ, by the way, doesn't have a big reputation for being a blocker. He is blocking his butt off.
He's blocking his ass off, man. Yeah. He blocked 3 on the touchdown.
Well, he got a little help from getting thrown by Jordan Mailata.
Jordan kind of pushed him a little bit, gave him a little love tap. But, for guys to go in and block like that, receivers, they don't block. They don't want to go out and catch the rock. But their blocking, understanding is always a big play that can happen when you got Saquon.
Yeah, it's been impressive stuff, that's from sure. Saquon Barkley in this passing game. Let's go back out to Ashley. We are live here at McGillin's in Center City. She's standing by with another fan question presented by Duncan.
Speaking of McGillin's, Dave just told me this is his favorite bar in the city. Something Dave and I have in common. But Dave, what is your question for the crew?
Yeah, so it seems like Dallas Goedert has had a much bigger impact in the postseason as opposed to the regular season. Do you guys have any thoughts on why that is? And, what does that mean in 9 days from now?
Yeah. Availability.
He's healthy.
Yeah, he's here. He's always had the opportunity to go out there and make big plays. He has some of the best one-handed catches from a tight end I've seen. And the yak yards that he has is unbelievable. But his best ability is availability. And when he's available, he's always been a force. So, just the simple fact that he's healthy now, he can go out there and make some things happen.
Yeah, it's been good to see him off the injury report a little bit. I think he's always had this in him. We saw him in the Saints game in Week 3, one of the best games of his career. When he's out there, he's really good. He just only played 10 games this year. He's been limited really his entire career by injuries. But in terms of an all-around tight end, there aren't many guys better than him in terms of pass catching, yards after catch, like you mentioned, and what he brings to the run game. He's really strong at the point of attack. It's a part that we don't talk about enough with Dallas Goedert, and then kind of shifting to this run-heavy offense. It's like he's a big part of that at all times. So he cannot have a catch and still have a really big game. And I think at times when he was injured and he wasn't at 100%, the run blocking suffered a little bit.
Right.
But when he's healthy, there aren't many guys who are better dual-threat tight ends.
And you always got to remember, a tight end is the quarterback's best friend.
Yep.
It's an easy pass. It's right in front of him. He can get the ball to him quick. And with him being a good athlete he is, he can make some big plays.
Yeah, you can generate those touches for him, too, which they do a lot. Those tight end screens kind of tunnel the ball to him, and then he can pick up yards after catch.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we got to shift gears a little bit to this Eagles defense, which has been absolutely outstanding this entire season, and especially in the playoffs. And I go back to Barrett and I's first show, our first Birds Huddle, as the regular season is about to start. And Barrett makes the call. Go ahead. Just have your moment of gloat.
Well, I said this week 1. I think the game was September 5th. I said, look, and this is before I even knew what the defense was going to do. I said, if Saquon Barkley wins the rushing title, the Eagles are winning, not getting to the Super Bowl, but winning the Super Bowl. And at this point, they're making it all true right now, So, just from how they've been playing, it's the perfect mix of what you need to do to win a Super Bowl. I love it.
Yeah, and I looked at Barrett Brooks and I said, you're a little nuts because we still have a ton of questions about this defense. At that point, they were still so young. Cooper DeJean wasn't a starter yet. They were still learning this new defensive scheme under Vic Fangio. We figured there'd be some bumps along the road, and there were a little bit at the beginning of the season. But by the bye week, this team has been off and running. And we talked to Brandon Graham the other day, and he's like, normally a new defensive scheme, it takes 2 seasons to master this. They've mastered it, Dave.
And it's amazing, too, because they're asked to do so much in this scheme. I think the most impressive thing is when they're in zone coverage and you're passing off zones. That's really hard for any defense to do, let alone a bunch of young players out there. You have rookies in the secondary. Cooper DeJean, you think back to that Jamar Chase play where he's following them all around the formation and sticks them on 4th down. He makes these kind of plays that rookies should not make.
Exactly.
Sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
With a rookie. And these guys are playing out of their minds right now.
Zach Bond playing the way he's playing, learning a new defense, learning a new position. Nolan Smith not really having the pass rush moves until halfway through the season. All these things come. C.J. Garner-Johnson coming in and learning a new defense. All this stuff comes in and comes together to a perfect mix of a dominant defense, the number 1 defense in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to talk about pressure with this defense. We all agreed going into this season that this was the year that the Georgia Bulldogs had to hit, right? You talk about Howie Roseman and all these high-caliber draft picks. There were a lot of questions with Nolan Smith, with Jalen Carter, with Jordan Davis. Were these guys going to be foundation pieces? And give Howie Roseman credit for seeing this because all of them have hit this season. They've all solidified themselves as part of this Eagles' future.
Yeah, people were starting to make fun of Howie. Just draft the Georgia players and see how that works out. It actually worked out pretty well. Yeah. And Nakobe Dean, a part of that, obviously not anymore. He got hurt, but he played at such a high level. All those guys got better this year. And it's been fun to watch, especially Nolan Smith. You mentioned him. This is a guy that last year had a really quiet rookie season.
Yeah, he did.
The first 4 games doesn't have a sack, a tackle for loss, or a quarterback hit. In the last 15 games, he has 10.5 sacks.
Crazy.
4 sacks in the playoffs. He's been unbelievable. He's going to make a big play in the Super Bowl.
I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that. You know, I mean, and he's just to be a fast guy. You know, the guy ran a 4.340 at the combine, and then turns around and learns pass rushing moves. You know, initially an offensive tackle, you're going to stop a guy in the first move, but you got to have something to come back around and beat him again. You know, on the second move on the same play. Well, he's learned that and figured it out. Wow, I'm a pretty powerful guy. I'm a quick guy. I can make some things happen, and he has been going bonkers since then.
Yeah, you see the confidence building each and every single week with Nolan Smith, and rightfully so. Let's go back out to the crowd now here live at McGillin's in Center City. Ashley is standing by with another fan question. Ash, what do you got?
Well, Ash, we've officially created our girl gang for tonight because this is Ashley.
Yes.
So we now have Ashlyn, Ashley, and Ashley all here. But Ashley has a question about another very famous tight end.
I do. So today we saw that Brent Selleck was out running routes with CJ So my question for you all is, do we think that limiting Travis is going to be a key to this game? And P.S., does Jason wish he had not hung it up and stuck it out for one more year?
And one more thing, guys, she's a huge Eagle Eye fan.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that.
We love that.
Whatever happened to Jason Kelce? You don't hear about him anymore, huh?
I know, weird. We're Kelsey'd out.
Yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce is such a big threat, and he's not even fast anymore. Like, you can time the guy with a sundial, but he gets open.
Right.
He doesn't even run routes. He just finds a way to sit in zones, and him and Patrick Mahomes have such a great connection. It's got to be really tough to defend something like that because it's unusual. You look across the league, and there's no one else playing the position like that in the entire NFL.
Right.
And I don't know how you really prepare for that. Maybe Brent out there is helping a little bit. He's been helping some of the safeties get ready. It's a big test in this game because they don't have a ton of offensive weapons.
Right, and he's just a master at understanding what defenses are trying to do, sits in the zone, always open, and he just puts himself in position to make himself available to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's almost like you have to play a basketball defense, a boxing one, box there, play zone around him and have one guy man-to-man with him, so just to keep him from being open all the time. I like our chances to get up against him because we've seen Vic Fangio put us in great positions, and he's not afraid to change his defense throughout the course of the game. So I think that, that'll help us out a lot, and we have fast guys playing right now. Zach Bond can cover them all day.
Yeah.
We have really fast guys playing on the defensive side of the ball. So, I mean, I like our chances even against Kelce.
Yeah, and the Eagles are really good defensively against tight ends all year.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people are saying, well, look at Zach Ertz and what he did to them in the NFC Championship game. I think that's different because I don't think they were game planning to stop Zach Ertz in that game. You had bigger threats outside. Terry McLaurin, big explosives down the field with that Cliff Kingsbury offense. This is a game where you circle 87 and Vic Fangio goes, how am I going to stop this guy?
Yeah.
That's number one priority. That wasn't the number one priority last week against Zach Ertz. So, and like you mentioned, like Vic Fangio is so good at creating a game plan and going week to week based on whatever they need to do in that particular game. So I wouldn't worry too much about what Zach Ertz did last week. I would worry about what Vic Fangio is doing to stop 87 this week.
More questions.
You're able to adapt, which is so impressive with Vic Fangio and just this Eagles defense as a whole. And now Ashley is standing by with Gilly, who has really become the star of Philadelphia. Ash, what do you got?
Guys, I'm feeling very lucky right now. I think I'm with the most popular fella in Philly at the moment, Gilly, the king. Gilly, did you ever imagine that it would become all of this? Everyone calls the unofficial hype man. He is officially the hype man.
I mean, I just try to bring good energy into the world. It really wasn't me. It's the Eagles winning. If the Eagles don't win, I'm not able to do any of this. So shout out to the players, the coaches, the assistant coaches, the ball boys, towel guys, everybody that's on the Eagles staff, because if they don't win, I'm not even able to be here.
I love it. I love it. How about that spirit, guys? So you're a lifelong Eagles fan. If you were to tell little Gilly that this is what it was going to be like, what would he say?
Absolutely. That's what he would have said. He would have said, be ready, be prepared, and had a time of your life.
So what is it like at this point, going into that locker room, running out of the tunnel with the guys? What does that feel like?
Well, people is just now noticing now in the locker room. I was in the locker room last year before the playoffs, and they brought me down to talk to them before the playoffs because they wasn't playing too good. But that didn't get as much traction. But this year it's getting a lot of traction because the Eagles are winning, and it just feels good to bring the positive energy to Philadelphia.
I love it. I love it. All right. bold prediction here. What is your score prediction for the Super Bowl? Philly needs to know.
My only prediction is that we will win. It doesn't matter how many points we win by. We can win by a half a point, a fourth of a point. We're going to win, baby. That's the only.
I hope our camera operator's okay out there.
That's my guy. That's my guy. Yeah.
Gilly got all
guy.
the energy I didn't get in life.
Yeah.
It's
You
pretty
didn't
cool.
get-
Yeah.
No,
And he's been like
you
that.
work at all football season.
He's been like that forever. Gilly, he started way back when. You know, in fact, New Orleans, he cut his teeth down in New Orleans, you know, writing down there, rapping down there. I mean, that's where he started everything out, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, you just see how he is. He's always been this way. Always been this way. Everybody's just not catching up with it.
Yep.
$1 million worth of game got you on the map, baby. Got you on the map.
Love it. A full circle moment. We want to know the blow the whistle story, too. We're going to play that, I think, like 17 times tonight, right? Oh, yeah. Right now? Okay, you can find the DJ and you can handle that. We're a little busy up here. It's now time for our Toyota RAV4 things to know, getting ready for the Super Bowl 9 days away. What we believe are going to be the key matchups in this game. Dave, I'm going to go with you first.
Jalen Carter, he's got to be a monster again. It's so important to get pressure up the gut against Patrick Mahomes. If it comes off the edge, he's able to kind of evade it and get away. But Jalen Carter has been unreal so far this season and in the playoffs. If he has another big game, it's going to go a long way.
I love it. I'm going to go with the passing game here, which I know has been a big topic here in Philadelphia. I do think the Eagles stick to their running game. They stick to their identity, but I do think they're going to have to open up the box a little bit in the first quarter. I think they're going to have to hit some explosive plays. I think you're going to have to go toe-to-toe with this Chiefs thing. I think they're going to have to definitely rely on A.J. Brown. So I want to see the passing game a little more involved than it has been, especially in the first quarter. Barrett, what do you think?
I just believe our coaching staff is ready to go against Andy Reid and his coaching staff. Everybody's talking about, you know, Steve, being a guy that can call defenses to stop it. He won't be able to stop us. I'm looking at, Andy Reid versus Vic Fangio. He won't be able to stop us. So I think the coaching situations kind of leans into our favor. I know everybody's, oh, no, that's Andy Reid. I don't care. I love what we got going on right now. So, with our attitude and the coaches, I think we'll be okay.
I don't care. Why would you?
Right, exactly.
You got to feel better with Vic Fangio in this Super Bowl than Jonathan Gannon in the last one.
Right.
Big time.
They just didn't adjust the last time they played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was frustrating.
He had already checked out.
For fans. It was frustrating for fans to watch. I think this time you have Vic Fangio. He's going to be adjusting, not just at halftime, but series to series throughout this game. He's been so good at that his entire career. So I think you're right. Like, you feel way better about the coaching situation this year than he did a couple years ago.
Absolutely.
Yes, Vic Fangio definitely bought in, and we thank all of you watching online on all our social media platforms. We wish you could be here with us at McGillin's Live in Center City, but thank you for tuning in online. And Ashley has another virtual question standing by, presented by Duncan.
Guys, I Am Zane wants to know, how many targets do you think Smitty is going to get for this Super Bowl?
Good question.
I'm saying around 5.
Yeah.
5 to 6 targets. AJ,
more
probably 7 to 8 targets. Dallas Goedert, about 3 to 4.
That's perfect. Now that's a balanced offense.
Absolutely,
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I was around 6. I was thinking like 6.5 would probably be a good over-under for that.
Right.
I think he's going to be involved. And Devontae Smith's always been a big-time, big-game receiver, even dating back to his days at Alabama. So you feel good about him in the clutch.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can go a couple weeks without getting a heavy target for Devontae Smith, and then he shows up. And that's really been the beauty of this Eagles offense. And we talk about the selflessness where it's really had to be a key for this team, because it has been weeks where you don't get a big-time target. And A.J. Brown is used to this, but meanwhile he's putting up huge blocks in the playoffs. It's been impressive. Like, I feel like every team says, oh, we're team-oriented, we're team-friendly, but this Eagles offense has to be, because there's only so many footballs to go around with all these stars, Barrett.
Absolutely right. But I think the ultimate goal that A.J., he wants to cement, Devontae Smith wants to cement, bring this ring home to Philadelphia. That's what they want. They want a Super Bowl ring. Yeah. They want to bring the ring back, so they don't care about anything but that.
Yeah, if they were losing, it'd be a different story.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It'd be a topic.
You're winning.
Oh, yeah. He would be bitching right now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think any good receiver would be.
Exactly.
If a team's losing and they're not getting the football. But if you're winning, you keep rolling with it.
Yeah, and Barrett, I thought you made a great point today on Bird's Huddle. You make fantastic points every day.
Appreciate it.
On Bird's Huddle. But I thought your point about when you look at A.J. Brown and you think years from now when he goes for that gold jacket, when he talks about being a Hall of Fame receiver, they want to call him a Super Bowl winning receiver.
Exactly.
And we talk about this window of opportunity. you don't know how long this window is going to stay open for this Eagles team. We get the salary cap. Guys are going to have to get paid. This team's going to look a little different next year.
Absolutely.
This is the window of opportunity for someone like an A.J. Brown to be a Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame receiver.
Absolutely. Time is waiting and that clock is ticking. He needs to go ahead and make this happen, get a ring now, kind of cements him as far as being the great receivers in the league. And that's what Lane Johnson also, him being in a position where, he's getting kind of long in the tooth. He's got to make some things happen. BG already has one. Why not have two? You know what I mean? So, you just got to make sure that you put yourself in position to take advantage every opportunity you can take advantage of.
Yeah, Super Bowls change legacies.
Yeah.
They just do. So even a young quarterback like Jalen Hurts, already in his second Super Bowl, if he's able to win one, it means a lot.
Absolutely, and that is what the Eagles are trying to do this year as we go back out to Ashley, who's standing by with another fan question presented by Duncan.
All right, we have our new friend Tam here, and Barrett, I'm just letting you know, she has already requested a photo. So she's going to be first in line. We'll make it happen. All right, Tam, go for it.
Okay, so my concern is that we are might be losing Kellen Moore, and I worry about Jalen Hurts and all the OCs that he had to deal with the last 4 or 5 years. What are your thoughts about bringing Frank Reich back to Philly?
I think that's my
Dave,
number one
your
pick.
guy.
That's our number one pick. Yeah, we want Frank Reich. And, it'll be a great position, almost like with Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio, he doesn't want to be a head coach anywhere. And I doubt seriously Frank Reich wants to be a head coach. So, come in, solidify, and him and Nick Sirianni are great friends also.
Yeah, and as far as losing Kellen Moore, it's going to hurt them from a continuity standpoint. We know Jalen Hurts wants that continuity, but it's just not the way life works in the NFL. Like if you're, especially with this setup, because Nick Sirianni's not the play caller. So you're going to have new offensive coordinators come in, and if they have success, they're going to get hired away. That's just the way it's going to go. A guy like Frank Reich, for that reason, makes sense because he might not leave for a head coaching job, but they'll go through the process and they'll look at candidates. They had a pretty short window where they looked at candidates last year. It was just 3 guys they interviewed. It was Kellen Moore, it was Cliff Kingsbury, and it was Gerard Johnson. So maybe they cast a wider net this time.
Yeah, and you got to think with Kellen Moore, just assuming he is going to be the Saints head coach at this point, because we're hearing all the reports that he's going to talk to them after the Super Bowl. So at this point, I really love the idea of a Frank Reich, because I get as a team how you want to be keeping up with the trends of the new offensive scheme, right? And you want the new offensive coordinator that everyone's talking about. I think with this Eagles team, when we talk about a window of opportunity, getting a guy who is stable, because you don't have a window of opportunity if you have to change your scheme every single season.
Right. And Jalen's done a great job of adapting to all these different coordinators. You got to give him a big up for that, because it's hard going in and learning a different system, a different checkdowns, different ways in which you look at the defense, offense, calling system. It's tough to be quarterback in those type of situations.
Absolutely. Well, let's go out to Ashley, who is standing by with one more fan question this evening. Ash, what do you got?
Yep, last one, guys, and it's very appropriate. What do we think the score will be for the Super Bowl?
Dave and I were just talking about 9 days away. It's really hard to give a score prediction. We don't know the injury report. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to say the Eagles win, and they win by 10 points, because I just think this Chiefs team, frankly, reminds me a lot of the Eagles of last season. They squeak by, they win games, but what are they exactly good at? You can't really define them. This Eagles team is complete, especially on defense. I think the Eagles win by 10. Dave, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't have a score for you yet. I think they're going to win the game. I think they're the more talented team. I'll tell you what, though, they might need to win comfortably, because it's going to be really uncomfortable if the Chiefs are in a close game down the stretch and Patrick Mahomes has the football. But ultimately, I think the Eagles are the better team. I think they're better than they were in 22. I think the Chiefs are worse. And look, I thought the Eagles were a little bit better than the Chiefs the last time they played. I think it's shifted even more this time. I think they're going to get the win.
And I'm a double-digit guy. I think they're going to win by double digits. And we're going to have to, because I still have a little angst with, Elliott right now. Jake Elliott's not my best friend right now, but, I think we win by more than 10 just to solidify things and make it more comfortable for me watching the game. I hate to be popping antacids and stuff like that from my stomach rumbling and everything, and knotting up because this game is a close game. I don't want that. Let's just blow them out early, celebrate, I'll probably have a couple drinks on a post-game show.
Yeah, they have to keep the foot to the pedal, right?
Yeah, they got to, yeah.
If you get 15 the ball late in that game, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely.
And we don't want that, and we have a very busy week coming up, as all does Philadelphia does, as we get ready for a Super Bowl here next Sunday, 9 days away from this game. All of us going to New Orleans at different points next week. We are excited about that, but NBC as a whole has a bus tour coming up on Wednesday where they'll be going all around Philadelphia, getting hype. Eagles cheerleaders swoop. Ashley Hall will be on the bus. That's enough of a reason to go on Wednesday. And then our programming on Sunday all across NBC channels, NBC 10, NBC Sports Philadelphia. That is where you can see Barrett Brooks on Eagles pre- and post-game live.
Yes, I'll be there.
How many woos are we going to get?
And we're going to get a bunch of them. I mean, we got to have it. We got to make it happen. Let's go.
Love it. Well, thank you all so much for coming out to McGillin's here live at Center City, our Eagles Playoff Live Q&A presented by Toyota, proud automotive partner of the NFL. 9 days away from a Super Bowl. Stay with us here, NBC Sports Philadelphia, all week long. Let's end with a Birds chant, shall we? Love it. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you soon.